What did Western celebrities and scholars say about the Prophet Muhammad? Part 2. The value of this reached what made him say that the sayings of some Orientalists who admired the personality of the Prophet Muhammad, despite the fact that they embraced Islam and lost a word of truth written by history on their tongues, in their books and their heritage. And they did not love the Prophet except that his personality reached sophistication, morals and civilization to the most extent that made him to the extent he made him write books and mention his person all the time. And this is part of everything they said about his great recipes. Michael Hart. Michael Hart. In his book 100 Men of History, My Choice of Muhammad to be the first among the most important and greatest men in history may surprise readers. But he is the only man in all history who has achieved the highest success on both the religious and secular levels. There are messengers, prophets and sages who started great messages, but died without completing them, such as Christ in Christianity, or others participated in them, or others preceded them, like Moses in Judaism. But Muhammad is the only one who completed his religious message. Its provisions were determined, and entire peoples believed in it during his lifetime. And because he established a new state on the side of religion in this worldly field also, he united the tribes into a people, and the peoples into a nation, and laid for them all the foundations of their life, and charted the affairs of their world, and placed them in the position of launch to the world. Also in his life, he is the one who started the religious and worldly message, and completed it. Saint Hilaire. The German scholar Berkeley Street Heller, a German Orientalist born in Dresden 1793–1884, said in his book The Orientals and Their Creed Muhammad was the head of the state and watched over the life and freedom of the people, and he punished people who committed crimes according to the conditions of his time and the conditions of those brutal groups in which the Prophet lived among them. The Prophet was a caller to the religion of the one God, and in this call he was kind and merciful even with his enemies. And that in his personality there are two characteristics that are for the qualities that the human soul carries: justice and mercy. Edward Montet. Opening parenthesis. The French philosopher Edward Montet, a French Orientalist, born in his hometown of Licada 1817–1894, said in his last book, The Arabs. Closing parenthesis. Muhammad was known for his sincerity of intention, kindness, fairness in judgment, and honest expression of thought and verification. The rains led them to a life they had never dreamed of before, and established a temporal and religious state for them that is still today. Bernard Shaw. Opening parenthesis. Bernard Shaw, the Englishman, born in the city of Cannes 1817–1902, has a book called Muhammad, which was burned by the British Authority. Closing parenthesis. Bernard Shaw. The world is in dire need of a man in the thinking of Muhammad, this prophet who always put his religion in respect and reverence. It is the strongest religion to digest all civilizations, immortal for eternity of eternity. And I see many of my people have entered this religion with knowledge. And this religion will find its wide scope in this continent, meaning Europe. The clergy of the Middle Ages, as a result of ignorance or fanaticism, painted the religion of Muhammad a bleak picture. They considered him an enemy of Christianity. But I looked into the matter of this man, and found him to be a miraculous miracle. And I concluded that he was not an enemy of Christianity, but rather he should be called the savior of humanity. People yearn for it. Sir William Muir. Opening parenthesis. Sir William Muir the Englishman in his book, The History of Muhammad. Closing parenthesis. Indeed, Muhammad, the prophet of Muslims, has been called the trustworthy since childhood, according to the consensus of the people of his country, for his honorable morals and good conduct. Look closely at his glorious history. The history that left Muhammad at the forefront of the apostles and thinkers of the world. Senestan AlAsuji. Opening parenthesis. The scholar Senestan AlAsuji. AlAsuji, Orientalist. Born in 1866. Professor of Semitic languages. Contributor to the Encyclopedia, collecting Oriental manuscripts, editor of The Eastern World magazine, has several books, including opening parenthesis. The Quran, the Mohammedan Bible, including opening parenthesis. The history of Muhammad's life. We do not do justice to Muhammad if we deny what he is of great qualities and praiseworthy qualities. Muhammad fought the battle of the right life in the face of ignorance and barbarism, insisting on his principle. And he still fought against tyrants until he ended up with a clear victory. And his law became the most complete of laws, and he is above the greats of history. Mr. Snix. Opening parenthesis. Mr. Snix, the American. An American Orientalist, born in his town of Belaya in 1831, died in 1883. In his book, opening parenthesis. The Religion of the Arabs. Closing parenthesis. Muhammad appeared 570 years after Christ, and his job was to upgrade human minds by imbuing them with the primary principles of virtuous morals, and by bringing them back to belief in one God and life after this life. Until he said, the Islamic religious idea has brought about a very great advancement in the world, and freed the human mind from its heavy chains that were captivating it around the temples in the hands of the priests. Muhammad reached, by erasing every image in the temples and nullifying all representations of the absolute Creator, to rid human thought of the thick doctrine of embodiment. Annie Besant. Opening parenthesis. Annie Besant. The Life and Teachings of Muhammad, Dar Madras Publishing, 1932. Closing parenthesis. It is impossible for anyone who studies the life and personality of the great Arab prophet and knows how this prophet lived and how he taught people, but to feel the veneration of this great prophet, one of God's great messengers. And although I will present in what I tell you things that may be familiar to many people, and every time I re-read these things I feel a renewed admiration and reverence for this great Arab master. Do you mean to tell me that a man in the vigor of his youth did not exceed 24 years of age, after he married a woman much older than him and remained faithful to her for 26 years? And then when he reached the age of 50, the age in which the lusts of the body fade away, he got married to satisfy his desires and desires. Exclamation mark. This is not the way to judge people's lives. If you look at the women he married, you will find that each of these marriages was a reason either to enter into an alliance for the benefit of his followers and his religion, or to obtain something that would benefit his companions, or the woman he married was in dire need of protection. Dr. Svema. Opening parenthesis. Dr. Svema AlKindi, a Canadian Orientalist born 1813 to 1900, said in his book, The Orient and Its Customs: Muhammad was undoubtedly one of the greatest religious leaders of the Muslim faith. What contradicts these qualities? And this is his Quran that he brought, and his history testify to the validity of this claim. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget like the video, and don't forget to subscribe channel.